UFC 322 is getting closer, and Jack Della Maddalena has sent a strong message to Islam Makhachev ahead of their title fight. Jack says he's confident he can surprise Islam in the grappling, not just the striking. He believes Islam is expecting to take him down, hold him there, and work toward a submission like he usually does. But Jack insists he has the skills, timing, and techniques to break Islam's rhythm, shut down those positions, and force Islam to rethink his usual game plan during the fight. He's not coming in to defend, he's coming in to disrupt.
What's something that you think he's probably not going to be prepared for in you, where he's kind of underestimating you?
I think maybe the grapple. Maybe I think his best case, he probably in his best mind would be thinking, take me down, hold me down, submit me. So I think, the grappling, I'll be able to surprise him.
Yep. Just a strength in the grappling as well.
Yeah, I believe so. The right techniques for his sort of A game, I think, will throw him off a bit.
Jack Della Maddalena also talks about how clearly he sees the finish in his mind. He pictures himself catching Islam clean, getting the stoppage, and hearing the arena erupt. He imagines turning to his corner, seeing his team losing their minds in celebration, and feeling the whole stadium explode with noise. For Jack, this isn't just a dream. It's a moment he's already visualizing in full detail.
You see MSG, biggest fight of the year, Islam Makhachev. What are you seeing?
I just see like a finish. I see a finish happening. I see the crowd going wild and just turning to the corner and just see him going berserk.
Oh, man. I hope so. I hope so.
Jack explains that he doesn't look at Islam Makhachev as a lightweight moving up, but as a world-class fighter in his own division. He calls Islam one of the best in the sport and admits this is the hardest fight of his career so far. But that's exactly what motivates him. Jack says he and his team have built the right game plan, and now it's all about executing it perfectly when the cage door closes.
I think he's one of the best fighters in the world. I don't look at it as like he's a different weight class. I just look at it as he's coming up to fight me in my weight class.
Yep.
I think it's a tough fight. I definitely think he's one of the best champions at the moment. Obviously, he's vacated the belt, but he's like one of the long reigning champions. So I'm excited. Toughest fight of my career. Feel good. Feel like I got the right game plan. Now it's just a matter of putting it together on the night.
Belal. Muhammad breaks down the Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena matchup and makes one thing very clear. Jack cannot make mistakes on the ground. Belal explains that if the fight goes to the mat, Islam's top control, balance, and calmness will be a serious problem. He points out that Islam is extremely calculated, always one step ahead, and never lets opponents off the hook once he gets a dominant position. Belal notes that Jack still has moments where he exposes his back or neck, and those are exactly the openings Islam would jump on immediately.
Versus Jack, for me, breaking down this fight stylistically, obviously trained with Islam, fought Jack. It's going to come down to if it hits the ground. If it hits the ground for Islam, I think his top game is going to be really good. He's very smart, very controlled, doesn't let you off the hook when you make a mistake. Jack makes mistakes on the ground. He uses it to scramble. He has good scrambling ability. He has moments where he's like lapses safety, right? He'll give up his back. He'll give up his neck. He'll give up an arm triangle. And you can't do that with Islam. Islam's going to see that, and he's going to exploit it. I think if Islam comes out wrestling right away and forcing that takedown right away, making that work, it's going to be a long night for Jack.
Belal Muhammad also praises Jack Della Maddalena's mindset, calling him smart, tough, and relentless, a fighter who doesn't quit. But he stresses that Jack has to own the center of the octagon. He cannot allow himself to be pushed back to the fence, because that's where Islam does his best work. Belal uses the Dustin Poirier fight as an example, highlighting how Islam constantly drove him toward the cage before timing his takedowns. He believes that over the course of the fight, Islam's takedown offense will break through Jack's defense if Jack gives him those positions.
And him being in there with him, he's very smart. He's good on the feet. He has good hands. He doesn't give up on himself. He always pushes through. So Jack's not going to be like a quitter, but he has to take the center. He has to be in the middle. He has to force the action and try not to get his back to the fence, because we've seen in the Poirier fight, Islam really wants to get you to the fence. Poirier did a good job of keeping the center, and he defended a couple of takedowns. But honestly, I just think that Islam's takedown offense is going to be more than Jack's takedown defense. And then when it goes to the ground, it's going to be a bad night. But if Jack can avoid some of those spots, there'll be moments for him. If he can make it to the 4th, 5th round, we'll see how Islam.
Jack Della Maddalena, on the other hand, talks about representing Australia and following the path laid out by champions like Alexander Volkanovski and Robert Whittaker. He calls Volkanovski his idol and credits his title run as a major inspiration in his own career. Jack says Whittaker also opened the door by proving Australians can dominate at the highest level. And now Jack is motivated to build on that legacy and carry it forward in his own way.
I guess, do you remember the first time you met Volk?
Yeah, it must have been around when he fought Islam the first time,
Yeah.
I'm sure, in Perth. Actually, no, he commentated a fight. I fought a guy named Kevin Jousset on the local scene in Melbourne, and he commentated a fight of mine.
Okay.
And that was the first time I'd met him.
Yeah.
And that was surreal. I think that was just before he won the world title.
Oh, right.
So, yeah, that was the first time I met him, and he was obviously an idol of mine then, and then he went on to do what he did. Him win the world title and then go on to, like, reign as a defending one of the great champions ever. Definitely inspiring. It definitely made me believe that I could do it way more.
Yeah.
Just seeing another Aussie clear the path.
Yeah.
Obviously, Rob did it, and then Volk even cleared an even bigger path. So, yeah, I'm just following their footsteps.
Bilal. Muhammad goes on to compare how Alexander Volkanovski and Jack Della Maddalena match up stylistically against Islam Makhachev. He explains that Volkanovski's shorter frame made him harder to hold down and control on the ground. With Jack, his longer torso could give Islam more space to settle into top position and work. Bilal adds that Volkanovski is a bit sharper and more explosive with his combinations, while Jack tends to use longer, smoother, more flowing striking sequences. Both are dangerous, but in different ways.
We've seen him in longer fights, obviously fighting for Volkanovski, who probably did the best with him on the ground, but Volkanovski is a little ball of muscle, right? He's short. It's harder to control shorter guys. Jack is longer. So he's going to have a longer torso for Islam to control, a longer torso for him to get on top of. Volkanovski made those spots harder because he's very short. He's very hard to read. Even with the striking, he's like a little bit more faster with his combinations. Jack does longer combinations, but I think Volkanovski is more explosive. And like I said, it's always harder to fight shorter guys. And fighting in Australia was a very hard spot, I think, for Islam.
In an earlier video, Bilal Muhammad shared similar thoughts and doubled down on his belief that Islam Makhachev has the tools to dominate and potentially finish Jack Della Maddalena on the ground. He talks about the unique pressure and style of Dagestani wrestling and how fighters who haven't truly felt it before often struggle once they're underneath it. Bilal says Islam's grappling is on another level, and he still sees too many gaps in Jack's ground game when the fight hits the mat.
I think my mindset, I think Islam can finish him on the ground for sure. And especially it's like we saw it with DDP. If you never felt one of those Dagestani style wrestlers, like you don't want it to be your first time in the cage feeling it. Yeah. And Islam and them, they have a different feel. They have a different type of grappling. So for JDM, even in our fight, he makes mistakes on the.
Meanwhile, Paddy Pimblett throws his support behind Jack Della Maddalena and takes aim at Islam Makhachev. Paddy says he believes Jack's boxing is superior and will control the stand-up exchanges. In his view, if the fight stays on the feet, Islam will have real problems. Pimblett also mocks Islam for talking up his previous wins and directly calls him out, daring him to move back down to lightweight at 155 so Paddy can face him himself.
I don't know how I see it playing out, but I hope JDM absolutely punches his little head in. Yeah, I hope JDM batters him. I think JDM's a much better boxer, and if he can keep it on the feet, then he will absolutely batter him, and I hope he does. Islam was chatting pony the other day, saying who I beat when he got a title shot at lightweight off beating Bobby Green, someone who I beat faster than you little bum. So, how about that one, Islam? Get back down to lightweight and I'll punch your head in as well.
On the other side, Chael Sonnen shares his perspective on Islam Makhachev's move to welterweight. He says this step represents a key moment in Islam's career, a chance to build his own legacy separate from Khabib Nurmagomedov. Sonnen suggests that even if Islam doesn't say it out loud, moving up and chasing new achievements gives him the opportunity to do something Khabib never did. He adds that years from now, Islam's own grandchildren could look back at this decision as the moment he truly carved out his own path in history.
I'd love to hear it for him. He earned this the hard way. He cleaned out a division, maybe the hardest division in the sport. He's moved to another division. This is what it's all about. And not to mention, it's something he will never discuss. But if you don't always want to be the heir apparent to King Khabib's throne, you got to do something that Khabib didn't do. And this is his opportunity. And I know inside that's not his motivation. He is not trying to show up Khabib. But I am just suggesting at some point his grandkids are going to look back on his career and they will now have something they can turn to that is different than Uncle Khabib.
Yeah, he said that the other day. Somebody asked him, like, well, if it doesn't matter for you, he goes, what a stupid question. He goes, Khabib's my brother. He goes, I don't want to do anything better than him. He goes, we do this together. But this is for my legacy. And right now, Islam's on the verge of...
Ali Abdelaziz also weighs in, saying Islam Makhachev is in the best shape and form of his life going into the fight with Jack Della Maddalena. He claims that if the current version of Islam fought the earlier version of himself, he would finish him in the first round. According to Abdelaziz, Islam is now bigger, stronger, and healthier than ever, no longer putting his body through brutal weight cuts and making his opponents look like amateurs once the fight starts.
Spending some time around Islam. How is he looking going into this fight now that we're so close to his welterweight debut? What does a welterweight Islam Makhachev look like in the training room?
He's the best Islam. If Islam right now fought the old Islam, we beat him in the first round. He's big, he's strong, he's healthy, he's happy, he's not suffering cutting weight, and he's very, very strong. He make everyone feel like an amateur.
That's it for today's video. Let us know what you think about this matchup. Who are you backing at UFC 322, Islam Makhachev or Jack Della Maddalena? Drop your predictions in the comments, and if you enjoyed the breakdown, don't forget to like and subscribe.